Next clip is an add-on for the hang handstand warm-up. So every day we do the dead hang, plank to pike, side split, hang shrug, plank to pike using the hands, front split. So that routine that we're doing every day, at the end of that, it's really important because you've warmed up and mobilized to make use of that, and because it's early in the session, using that time to do handstand skill work. So I'm just added into all the classes 2 30-second handstands. So they're not endurance sets, they're skill sets. So you're just trying to improve on the line, as well as doing the actual handstand, doing some ability work to help, mostly for people open up the shoulders, but getting that nice straight line all the way through the chain. So your key cues are, ribs in, shoulders elevated, scap shrugged up, elbows locked, pelvis slightly tucked under, front hips open to really get that nice line. And the whole point of getting a line is not just the aesthetic part of it, but getting it to a point where it's nice and relaxed. So it's minimal muscular effort, so there's a nice stack. So you look at a lot of the hand balances, they're not big, strong guys that have heaps of core strength. Some of them are, but they don't need that to do the hand balancing. When you're going into acrobatic, like a gymnast where you're doing tumbling and stuff like that, that's when you need that really strong core as well as that handstand ability. So they've got, more of a developed core to be able to flick in and out of a handstand. So jump into a handstand, flick out of a handstand. So it's much more dynamic, and there's a lot of force going through the body, up to 8 to 10 times body weight when they're tumbling. So it's a different type of strength that you need for that type of handstand, dynamic handstand. But just doing straight line handstands, it's more about mobility for most people, and I find that shoulder mobility, even for myself, I'm very mobile, but my shoulders have been tight, and because my thoracic's quite flexible compared to most people, I've been able to keep my shoulders tight and then just get what looks like a fairly straight line to an untrained eye, by extending my thoracic rather than actually opening up my shoulders. So these next drills, you can have a look at my last Instagram, probably the last 6 or something posts that I've done all to improve the mobility for that. But the basic ones are just doing the mode here. So you're opening up the shoulders and then pulling the ribs in. And you're getting that bend, but really trying to get a nice line. So really opening up the shoulders. So it's from the pelvis to there, really trying to even go past that straight line, but not letting it collapse in the lower back or the thoracic in my case, trying to keep that core tight and then focus on that shoulders opening, so it's that ribs in cue, not let the ribs flare and open like that. So that's a good one to work, to open up that. The dead hangs are good, but it's pulling those ribs in the dead hang. And what we've been doing is just doing the overstretch using these. So you have the handle's going to be actually recessed behind this, so that way it gives you an overstretch because there's a vertical line in front. I'm facing the other way, but hopefully you get the concept. Got 2 of them, so there's a nice spring, and it also spreads it a little bit. And these are flexible. If you don't have this type of setup, that last ring one's really quite good, or having the ring a bit higher and doing it standing to open up and pulling the ribs in, and just dead hanging, pulling the ribs in, or using the handrail and stuff like that for the same drill as like just using the rings, because just doing that all the time, because it takes time, you've got to really commit to it. So here, this one is focusing more on the shoulder height, but you could lower it down and do it across the thoracic as well. So here I'm pulling the ribs in, I've still got weight in the step below me, so that way it deloads it, makes it easier to pull my ribs in. And then from there I can increase the load by taking the legs off, tucking the pelvis under, keeping the ribs in. Really opening that up. So I really feel that quite strongly through the lats there, because that's where I'm tight, and that's where I'm fighting myself to get my hands above the head. So if I was doing the thoracic as well, I'd lower it down. So I kind of just hit there, my thoracic doesn't need it as much. Whereas a lot of clients that have this really rigid locked thoracic, they've been working it there as well as the shoulders. So doing 2 different ones. But yeah, you definitely want to have a nice dead hang before you get to that, and you want to be able to comfortably dead hang for at least 30 seconds with no discomfort, if not a minute. This next one's a lot stronger. This is a bit of a different setup. You could start, there's a hole here and a hole here. You've got to be kind of creative to find some way of setting up like this, but this has got this straight bar here to give you feedback. So this is quite strong, reaching back, grabbing that PVC, and then I'm going to take my spine down onto it, trying to externally rotate the shoulders, open up through there. That's quite strong. Just to really try and get that sternum forward. Yeah, that's fairly strong for me. It puts a lot of pressure through there, but really trying to get that overstretch. So when I go into a handstand, the straight line is a lot easier. Definitely film your line when you're doing your handstands from the side so you can have a look and forward them to me. I'm really, keen to help people improve and work out, what's going on, because everybody's different. Everybody's got tension in different parts of the chain, strength and weaknesses. So the shape's different for everyone, and your straight line that you come up with will be different from other people's as well. It's just to get it to a point where you can make it more comfortable. So you have your hands leg distance from the pole for the first one, and you might just be working on just getting that like that, getting the hips over the shoulders. You might still be there, otherwise you're up, but really trying to find where that line is, open the shoulders looking up, and then getting that nice line all the way through, and doing that both sides. Your next one is going to go back to wall, and then you're going to go face to wall, which I'll show you against the wall. So the back to wall handstand, you really want to make sure you've got that nice L with the handstand with the face to wall, and that way you've got a nice soft kick up, good awareness, you've gotten used to the pressure of your weight coming down into your arms, got good locked elbows, strong hands, used to the blood rush, so you can feel quite comfortable there. And then from here, you're just going to do a nice soft kick up. You can start out with a little bit of play, and then get closer to the wall once you're feeling better with it. It's good to go fairly close once you're conditioned to feel the line. Not so close that you can't, you've got nothing to play with. But here, kicking up nice and soft, trying to get a good stack, lengthening up, and then from there, I'm really trying to open up my shoulders, tuck my butt under, and feel my line, and get the pressure in my palms, and then just feel it go from my fingertips to the palms back and forth. I'm just balancing on that line. So for me, I really struggle to open up the front of my hips when I'm tucking my butt under, so really working that as a drill. Then when I'm doing it from the other side, trying to get the sternum through to the wall, you want to make sure you've got a nice dismount when you're doing it this way, so feel comfortable, and always leave a little bit in the tank before you come down. When you're doing it for skill, definitely filming and getting that feedback will allow you to really kind of understand what is not aligned and what to work on. It's quite disorientating. It's one thing to do it standing, doing when you do the floor drills like I've got in the core for this month, but it's a whole other thing when you're upside down, especially when you're adding fatigue. So doing the easier handstand first, really getting conditioned in that, and then building up to a more challenging position is important. So here, just coming in as close as you can. Obviously when you first start further so you get more comfortable, and then be able to walk in, and you want to have the cartwheel exit down as well, showing you a set. But here I want to try and get my palms just enough so I've got something to play with, and then pushing up through my palms, trying to get my top of my sternum through, and then for me opening the hips to try and get that line. When I exit, I'm going to fall, step, cartwheel. You really want to have that down. Don't want to. You can crawl out, but it's good to have that as a nice, easy exit, so you feel comfortable doing it. It is quite challenging, so start out, a bit further and gradually come up. Just keep it super safe, and you want that nice kind of step with the hand, rotate, come down. Be able to do it both sides is what I recommend, but you might have a side that you favour, but it's good to develop both. But I find it really hard in that position to try and get the top of my sternum through, to really open up those shoulders and look up through the eyebrows. But it's getting there, just to really emphasize a nice strict straight line so that way I can make it less effort. So in the warm-up I just do a couple of shorter ones. Might do one on the wall, one freestanding, and try and get that. But I film a lot myself just because I've wasted a lot of time just kind of doing them and going by feel but not having that feedback. And unless you've got a really good coach beside you all the time, someone really cueing you, you can waste a lot of time by repeating bad habits and not improving them. So I do that when I train. Then at the end of the workout, you want to do it like an endurance set. So maybe it's slightly easier handstand. So if you're doing the face to wall one, just do the back to wall one, but trying to max out. Always leave a little bit to get down safely, but trying to really build up. On a lot of hand balances, I recommend at least getting up to like a 3-minute one on the wall. So you've got that really strong base. So then you can, once you've got that endurance and that strength, it's no longer conditioning, it's just balance. So you can relax a lot more and just focus on those micro adjustments in the hand, just going from the fingertip to the palm and back and forth, and using the first knuckle. So you really want to make sure that you develop it properly, get that good base, and then it's more skill-based as opposed to just trying to hold on for dear life. So enjoy that, get into it, get some videos into me. See you soon.